Greetings, rise and shine, brethren. We are the World Global Reset Restoration Network family, comprised of 198 sovereign nations with over 7 billion sovereign principles, being of one mind, one heart, and one spirit, walking together under the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I come to you as a voice in the wilderness to introduce to you a man. No, not just any man, but a man sent by Yah Allah to redeem mankind. Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson, the Adak Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, and who's also known as Yehoshua Mashiach, the Son of Man. The information that you will be receiving in this and other videos you won't get from anywhere else on the planet. Hear the many truths and fulfillment of the laws, judgments, and sentencings from our Creator, Father Yah, as well as the fulfillment of the true interpretation of the Holy Scriptures and books. Now, without further ado, Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson with his beloved host, Shelley Bowling.
Interested in the indexing. Will you please speak a little bit about that and how one participates in the indexing process, and what exactly does that mean once you're indexed?
Outstanding. Well, and that's a great question, and a lot of people need to understand the indexing. The indexing is a set of numbers. It's a series of numbers. Let me not say a set. It's a series of numbers. And also, I don't know if any of you know what teletype looked like before, but some of it has lines, and there's breaks in the lines, it has dots, there's breaks in the dots, and it goes across the page in a series of numbers, and then it does that again. It's called indexing. The indexing, what it does is those lines and those numbers, when they're placed into the computer will read those numbers and those broken lines. It reads it as an identity. So say, for instance, if I took something like the St. Germain's Trust, and I give it a series of numbers, and I give it a series of these broken lines and these broken dots and dots, I put them into the computer. What the computer, it asks a question first. It asks, if not this, then this. In other words, it's asking about the numbers, and it's asking about the broken lines and the broken dots. Both of those must add up. They must both say, okay, this is St. Germain's Trust. It will also say how much that St. Germain's Trust is worth. It will also go to the extent of telling us who is the person that's in charge of this St. Germain's Trust, all the way to every individual that's on that St. Germain's Trust. It will give us their name. It will give us who they are. It will give us almost like a fingerprint of each one of those individuals, just by the computer reading it. This is called indexing. And we have not just done that for the United States, which is, we don't classify us as the United States because we are the one indigenous people. We are the one descent people that are of the true blood and covenant of God. We call ourselves the Americans or the sovereign American citizens. And this is the way the computer reads it. That's called indexing. So say, for instance, if I gave you a trust tomorrow, and you say, well, I want to open this trust up for my personal family, and we'll get to that because you can open up a personal trust for your family. You can do that. You can open up a personal trust for your animal if you want to. That's totally on you. But what we do is we bring you in, you sign all your documents, you sign that whatever cash that you're going to be receiving, it will be clean funds. It will be used for the purpose in which you're getting it for, such as humanitarian projects, taking care of your family, home life. This trust that you're setting up will be indexed. It will be given a set of those broken lines and dots. It will also be given a series of numbers. And based upon that, when we stick it in the computer, it will read for you and you only. It won't even read for us. It will give us a reading, but it won't allow us to be able to get into it. This is what we have done to the whole American system, and we might call it that, the United States. You hear the word master sequester. That's what the sequester does. The sequester has put it in index. That means everything is indexed. So if United States decide to go out and purchase a hammer because they said they needed a hammer for their house, it will put in the computer who purchased it. It will show in the computer how much the hammer was. It would show in the computer where the hammer came from. It does all of this. In other words, that person that did it, his identity will be automatically known based upon the computer. And that's what's happening now. That's why you got everybody in Congress screaming, I wasn't the one that sent them to Benghazi, I wasn't the one that did this. But what's happening is it's telling us exactly who it was that did it, because we had indexed it. And because we indexed it, these series of numbers and these series of broken lines, they couldn't read the numbers, they couldn't read the broken lines, but the computer can, and so can we because we wrote them. This is what's happening. This is indexing.
We must realize that digital system will be plastered across the universe, not only just for a monetary system, but it will also be plastered across the universe based upon an identity system. Indexing. Indexing is where everyone is being now placed inside of a computer system whereby it will be digitally enhanced to a point where even facial and voice recognition will become a part of the everyday life for everyone on the planet. In other words, I say to those people now who still may be having an identity breakdown, a crisis we would call it, where you do not want anyone to know your identification. You don't want anybody to know your personal data. You don't want anybody to know your true would-be name or where you came from or your location. Let me help you out. It won't help you at all. None at all. So face recognition right now can be recognized based upon the many satellites that sit out in the heavens now, we would call it, and they call it the eyes of Ra, or the eyes of God. In other words, those eyes of God happen to be all about and all around as it has been written in the scripture. Those eyes are none other than those eyes of the sparrow, they call them. The eyes of the sparrow is nothing more than something that they classify to be a bird. The birds are nothing more than those that are classified to be satellites. And right now, those eyes can see you. They can recognize you. They recognize the very mere breath in which you breathe. Those satellites can recognize based upon face recognition. It can tell you who you are, even if you are confused yourself. So you can be suffering from amnesia right now. And that satellite can directly tell you exactly who you are based upon your voice recognition. based upon your face recognition from the day one that you were created or born on the earth. It can tell you exactly who you are. So it's kind of now ironic that many of the people are still, and we might say, resisting going to get an identification card. And yes, we are going to issue everyone what is known as the international ID card. But you must realize this international ID card is going to be a digital card. And just because you won't have to worry about being less than American Express, where you will never leave home without it, you're not going to have to worry about that, because the Express is going to be able to be wherever you're at whatever time you're there. Everything will be digitally enhanced. There will be a digital monetary system. There will be a digital identification system. And even right now, the United States of America has been discussing a digital Bill of Rights, believe it or not. So to speak of digital is going to become the norm. It's like now you have an identification card in your back pocket that has a black strip on the back of it. Whether it be an identification card, whether it be a driver's license, whether it even be a discount card that you use in your would-be local supermarket. That strip tells them enough in which they need to know. And I know some of you are going to even sit United Nations, international world, you know exactly what we're talking about as well. Many of them are going to tell you that they didn't use their real address. They're going to tell you that they didn't use their real name. And they're just going to tell you that the card they have in their pocket doesn't really matter. But let me help them out. If you're carrying that card, it matters. Because the drone can pick you up within 1 meter or direct location of whomever is carrying that card on his person. Say what they got about, you don't get it yet. So just so happens if you did use someone else's name or someone else's location, let's just say that at any given time that you're carrying that card, you don't want to be at that location yourself. Because if they decide to listen to your voice recognition, if they decide to do facial recognition, where the computer will be able to read you through by way of the would-be so-called satellite that can look even through steel and concrete to see exactly who you are, just say, you ain't hiding from anyone. You know, being that we are speaking United Nations now in a moment for the whole world must understand that internationally right now, yeah, everyone is tied together on a single string, or let's just say the garment has many threads, but it's only one garment. And everyone is under the same would-be piece of garment. Everyone is identified whether he or she believes that they are or not. So I say to all the criminals out there, you're not hiding from anyone. If they have not yet picked you up, they're not looking for you.
Thank you, Joshua. So now that we're speaking about ID, he has brought to us the ID. That is the indexing. Simply identifying yourself. Acknowledging who you are and where you came from. Many have asked about, if I index, will I be able to find out my historical background, my genetic makeup? Absolutely. The Global Network already has testing facilities set up to be able to assist you in that, to identify yourself as one of the 12 tribes of Israel. The true Israel that came out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those 12 tribes. And as mankind is identified, they will be able to know who their family lineage is. And although you have testing facilities now set up by the cabal or the sons and daughters of Satan and Lucifer, yes, they're trying to ID you for their own benefit. They just weren't taking your DNA. Or at least that's what they're telling you. RNA was original mankind. The global network will be testing your RNA, because that is who you truly are as mankind, because that is of the terrestrial man, and the DNA is of the celestial. So, yes, family, you will have an opportunity to be indexed and to be identified properly for your own benefit, so that you indeed will know who you are. Family, for those of you that are having eyes that see and ears that hear, and you're understanding and getting what Yehoshua is telling you, He's brought you your redemption. He is indeed the Redeemer. And your redemption is accessed through the simple process of indexing. He paid the price for everyone on this planet to be indexed. We know that some of you have eyes and you cannot see. You have ears and you cannot hear, and you're not going to index yourself. But there are still those out there wanting to do the very thing, willing to bow their knees to Father Yahweh and to acknowledge His Son, Yehoshua Mashiach. So family, for those of you that are serious about it, check out the sovcpr.com website, and on it gives you your full instructions of how to send everything in to the Universal World Court, where there is no charge. It's simple, it doesn't take much time, and again, we do request, if you do send it in, mail it in with a return receipt green card. It will be returned back to you so that you know we have signed it and have received it into the court.